every once in a while something happens and it's like, that's not exactly what I meant it to be, but it turns out to be absolutely perfect. Maybe that's part of what life is all about. It's not necessarily expecting things to be perfect or wanting them to be perfect, but making whatever it is that happens work. I think that's probably the story of my life. That's what's going to be on my memorial. Welcome. Welcome to Your Brand by Design. Welcome to the way that we get to start moving you forward on your road to legend. Welcome to moving your own path, paving your own way. And I'm here to help you move the milestone. I'm here to help you remove those blocks and actually guide you on some place where I've been and where I've guided people before. Today, I really want to talk to you about why you're so special. I know, we all probably had moms or dads or someone in our lives at some point that called us special, unique, different. And I'm here to tell you they were right. You are special and you are unique, despite what your brand may currently say, despite how you may currently be marketing your business, despite how you may be currently speaking about your business. Your grand differentiator is where there is profit. I want to tell you today the three ways you can really not just figure out how you are special and how you are unique, but how to take that thing that makes you different and make it work for you. Make it so that your brand is one of those pieces of your persona that helps you make sure your brand shows up before you do. Make sure that everyone in the audience is still singing your song long after you've left the stage because your brand is that powerful. That's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm really excited. I hope you have seen some of the posts leading up to this week because I think that it speaks volumes. And I know sometimes they're silly. There's an elephant with stripes, and how silly is that? I think it's beautiful. But I if you really get good and honest with yourself about it, this is how a lot of us market. This is a lot of us how a lot of us brand. It's very common, especially as you are just getting started, or if you are, I mean, here we are in this one of the I've never been through a pandemic before, so this is very new territory for me. And I think as a lot of us move through this, we are watching a lot of what's going around us and saying, "Oh, I see how they're doing that. I'll do that." Or somebody else in my industry is doing this, I'll do that. And we forget how amazing we are in our own skin, in our own space, in our own entity. We lose track of that. Or here's another thing that's really super common. You know who you are, you know what you do and why it's different, and you understand even perhaps why you are uniquely qualified to resolve the issues and concerns of your ideal clients and partners. But then you sit down to create an email and you think, oh my goodness, I have to do a sales letter. Oh my gosh, I have to have an order form. Oh my gosh, I have to have an opt in. And your persona flattens. Like, of all the times for your persona to be turned down, this is not when it is. This is not that moment. I encourage you to take the extra effort it requires to go back through every single piece of marketing collateral you've created, every single brand asset, every single piece of your equity, and make sure that your persona has been turned up to 11. This is the time for it to shine the most. So, the first things first, let's talk about how you identify what makes you different, what makes you special. It One of the things that I like to share with my audience and with the people that I work with, both in the League of Legends and my clients one on one, my hiring clients, being better is really hard. And being better is hard to prove. Being better is just not sustainable because better is so subjective. But being different is easy. Being different is fun. Being different is better than trying to be better. People will remember you more because you were different, not because you were number one, whatever in that moment. So it's important to identify what makes you different, not because it makes you the best, but because those people who speak that language will clamor for it. Because the people who can relate to you, whether that's this particular core value separates you, or the skill set, or this asset that you bring to the table, your people are aching for it. They are just waiting in the wings, waiting for you to show up with it so they can say, oh my gosh, there she is. She's my person. Let's jump in. Let's do this. They're waiting for it. So, how do you identify that? There's a couple different steps. And one of those includes take a look at people in your industry and realize that I did not say competition because I don't believe in competition. Not that I'm afraid of it, I just don't see any. So, what exactly is it that you bring to the table that nobody else does? One of my favorite stories to showcase this is, yeah, I live in Utah. I'm in Salt Lake City, and we have one of the most world-renowned eye surgeons ever. Um, they're brilliant. They have an entire team, but the father and son that started it are the ones who have like created these lasers. They have created the process. They were the innovators for the ways they could do laser and LASIK vision. And there people come from all over the world to have them do their surgeries. When they do commercials on the radio, they talk this much about the process. And they talk this much about they have fresh, warm cookies in the office. Now, I realize cookies and eyes do not go together. That's not a natural pairing for me. But part of how they differentiate themselves from every other eye doctor doing a radio ad, every other eye clinic on the radio ad, which, by the way, I'll get into that in just a second. They talk about the cookies. They do talk about how they are world renowned. They talk about how they are the innovators of the processes, but they don't get into the nitty gritty details of how they go into your eyeball. I've had it done. It's crazy. Don't watch it. If you've done it done, I highly recommend it, but don't watch it. Um, but they don't go into all the little details. They talk to you about the experience, and them providing you warm cookies, whether you are a patient or someone with a patient, is part of the customer experience. And that's what they talk about. What I've noticed about this too is not just that they get to talk about the cookies and the customer experience, but there are other people on the radio advertising their services for the same thing. And because they can't say we're the number one in this, or we're the first ones here, or we have the same steps as they do, we have the same processes, they are reduced to saying it's $500 off each eye, or it's $1,000 off your total process, or now only it's $250 per eye. In addition to the fact that I don't want to do discount procedures on my eyes, that's what they get to do because they can't figure out how else there can be different. Does that sound familiar? Without actually understanding your grand differentiator, there are people, it is very common, it's very understandable if you resort to let's discount, let's offer a scholarship, let's reduce pricing to try to bring people in. But when you are able to really truly set yourself apart as different, as unique, that's one of the ways you get to monetize that. That's one of those ways you get to leverage it is you never have to offer discounts. Your people don't expect it. Another way to illustrate this is have you ever bought a last time you bought a car? I know car salesmen have a really bad rap. Yeah, there's bad baggage that goes with that particular thing. And you have to go in, there's the sticker price versus the negotiating price, and there's the undercarriage covering and all those other things that go with it. I'm listening to these ads on the radio lately, and it's come in 6 months, same as cash. It's no payments till the end of the year. It's right now everything's 20% off, or bring in whatever old piece of the one I heard this morning, just this morning, was bring in any old appliance, including a hair dryer, even if it doesn't work, and it's worth $4,000 toward a new car. Like that's a crazy gimmick. Now that's differentiated, certainly, but anything you want to bring into this dealership, it's worth $4,000 toward a new or used car. Wow. Have you ever bought a Tesla? Have you ever gone through the experience or heard about how Tesla sells their cars? There's no negotiation. There's no sale. There's no Thanksgiving, like Black Friday sale. There's no end of the year sale. There's no sales. It's here's our website, here's our car, here's the price. You can change these few things to customize it for you, and here's the price tag that goes with that. You pay the price, you go get your car, it's done. Now, who do you think they're attracting versus what those other car dealerships are attracting? There's nothing wrong with it. This is not a shame and blame thing. There's a different audience for a car dealership that wants to offer $4,000 for an old hair dryer, and Tesla who says this is our price tag, take it or leave it. You bring people in by your vocabulary. When you are not able to differentiate yourself in any other way, you end up resorting to price. And anybody shopping, if I can't tell what makes you different, if I can't see a difference, and especially right now, it all has to be online. If I can't see how you're different, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and I'm going to pick somebody else. There's nothing that makes it clear why I should choose you. By establishing what actually makes you different, you are able to leverage that and increase your revenue and increase your profit because you get to charge for the value that you provide. Your discounts don't make you special. Your service does. Your expertise does. Find that thing that you bring to the table that nobody else does. Do you make really great cookies? Do you make great lasagna? I don't know. Do you have a level of creativity that most people in your industry can't offer? Do you have a way of storytelling that other people in your industry can't do? Like, these are the things, like, what is that special something? Then leverage it into making it's easy to push that into by using that and by celebrating that. It's easy to leverage that into profit and revenue because then you can be this different person. You don't have to try to compete to be the best. You don't have to try to compete with pricing. It's not about the price tag. You get to speak and attract people who want value and who want you and are willing to pay for it. So that's how I've skipped around in my order. Thanks for keeping up. That's how you bring people in who are excited about that. And that's how your grand differentiator can actually make you money. How you identify it, look at, for starters, look at those people around you who do what you do or something similar and figure out why you're different. Figure out the one thing that you can say that they can't say, right? And sometimes that's a personality thing. Oftentimes that's persona for sure. Now, here's how you share it in everything. In everything. Your grand differentiator helps you establish your persona in a way that it will show up before you do and it will make a mark. It will make a lasting impact on people's lives. So one way to share it, I know people get really excited about their business cards. How's that working for you right now? I'm sure your business card is beautiful and I bet it has your brand on it and I bet it even has a really fabulous picture. At least it better. How are you using something like that to share why you are different, how you are different? What does your website look like? Are you showing up as different on your website? How are you showing up on social media? What are you doing that's different in this space, in our little Vogue Zoom rectangles, your little microscopic photo? How are you showing up as different? How are you sharing your differentiator? Well, let's look at the visuals. Like, I've got League of Legends. I haven't seen that before. Makes people go, I wonder what League of Legends is. You should totally join, by the way. It's a great community. Also got my logo back there. How else are you showing up? What do you have in your background, in your visuals that shows that you're different? Another way to share your differentiator is in your vocabulary, your language. What kind of words do you use? Do you have isms that are your very own? If you don't think you do, you do. Ask a friend, ask a client. You have isms. You have things that you say over and over again in a certain way. I bet you hold your hands in a certain way when you say it. I bet there's a certain twinkle in your eye when you say certain things, and it's always there when you say that certain thing. That's how you share your differentiator, is in your vocabulary, the words you use. And that gets to show up again in all the things. It gets to show up on your website. It gets to show up in your social posts. It gets to show up in your emails. Oh my goodness, don't let your persona fly flat when you are writing emails. Your sales pieces, your newsletter, whatever it is you call it, it gets to show that persona. It gets to be that incredible. Share with me here. This is a conversation. Hey, Michelle. I can't I can't help but get excited. This really, really makes me happy. And the idea of people showing up as their true, biggest, most amazing, higher selves, really, it's what I'm passionate about. And not only does it make me excited and it brings me joy, which, as you know, that's half of my mantra, it brings you cash, people. There is profit in your persona. Oh, I'm getting that on a shirt. I'm getting that on a shirt. There's profit in your persona. Share it everywhere. Share it in your language, share it in your visuals, share it in your legend response system, share it in all your spaces. What makes you different makes you amazing. What makes you different means that you will never be confused with someone else in your industry. And not because you offered a discount, but because you stood up and said, this is me, this is how I deliver my special genius. This is the magic in the process that I use to deliver everything I have. That's your brand, that's your persona, and there is I know, Sarah, I thought of you when I said it. Yay, beautiful faces going places. Sarah, we will talk about shirts. There is such there is such power in being able to say this is why I'm different. Sometimes it's customer service. But customer service, unless you've got some stuff to back it up, is tricky. What about customer service? Get specific. There's no money in vague. there's no reason. Be specific. What about customer service is it that makes you amazing? What makes you what says it, maybe it's a 24-hour turnaround. Although rarely is that required, by the way. 24-hour turnaround is highly overrated. What makes you different in the way that you speak with your clients, in the way you speak with your partners, and the way you speak with your community? That's how you share your grand differentiator. That is how you develop and establish your persona in a way that brings you money, that brings you profit, that is sustainable. And oh, by the way, it's way more fun when you get to show up as who you truly are in a way that just magnifies your higher self. That's both joy and money. So let's do more of that. Identify what makes you different. Share it everywhere. Share it like crazy. Share it through all the different venues. Share it in your language and your visuals and your mannerisms. And oh my goodness, share it in your legend response system. And then leverage it. Make a profit. Stand out. Serve well. Develop amazing relationships. And above all, rock on.